Welcome back, Geordies. It's Adam from Two for Joy here, and tonight we're going to be talking about Chris Kavanagh's decisions in the Aston Villa versus Newcastle game at Villa Park last night, which obviously is everywhere on the internet. In my opinion, 3 key decisions in that game, 3 key mistakes in that game, and basically how I don't believe Chris Kavanagh or his linesman Nick Greenhay should be refereeing games after these sorts of decisions. And the reason I say this is not just a one-off bad game. Basically, managers in the Premier League that have complained about Chris Kavanagh openly in interviews after the games this season include Reggie Lebris, Mikel Arteta, David Moyes, Thomas Frank, Eddie Howe. That's 5 out of 20 teams. That's 5 managers that have openly complained about Chris Kavanagh as an individual after games this season. We'll start off with the offside. I'll put it up so you can see it. Obviously, free kick given to Aston Villa, 25 yards out. It looks like Morgan Rogers is going to strike the ball. Clever little free kick. Tammy Abraham makes the run early. Douglas Luiz chips the ball over the top. But at this point, Nick Greenhay can see clearly right along the line. Newcastle's back line is very structured at this point. And although I would say Newcastle as a defence look like they switch off, Tammy Abraham and one other are in offside positions as this ball comes over. And how Nick Greenhay doesn't have the courage to raise his flag, as he must clearly be able to see that 2 Villa players are in offside positions and Tammy Abraham scores from this. I think it's absolutely awful. And then moving on to the next one, which I think is an even worse decision. Chris Kavanagh and the opposite official, who I don't know the name of, the lino, who's only 5 yards away when this tackle is made. Luca Digne comes sliding in, foot raised on Jacob Murphy. And as you can see from the image, he clearly catches Jacob Murphy shin high, studs raised. It's an awful tackle. And it's when you slow this down, and they say, oh, it always looks worse slowed down. I think it looks worse. Oh, I think it looks as bad at game speed as it does slowed down. And that's why I feel in this situation, he has to walk. This is a red card all day long. And if VAR is there, this is a definite red. And as you can see from the still I put up, Jacob Murphy is left with 2 stud holes in the front of his shin. It's an awful tackle. At that point, Chris Kavanagh must be questioning the decision he's made. That's 2 poor decisions in the first half so far. And obviously, Bezo comes out, makes the tackle on Jacob Murphy, and the red card is given. The only decision I felt that Chris Kavanagh got right last night, the red card for Bezo in goal, making a tackle on the halfway line. But as we move into the second half, Kieran Trippier to cross the ball. And this one really sticks with me. As you can see, Luca Digne stood well inside his penalty area. Trippier crosses the ball. Luca Digne jumps and it hits him on the arm. And it's a definite handball. And Chris Kavanagh has managed to get the handball right. But he has, again, Nick Greenhay, who made a terrible call on an offside in the first half, doesn't have the courage to turn around and say to his referee that you've made the wrong decision. He was definitely in the box. There should be some conversation between linesman and referee, and how the fact that neither of them have managed to spot that Luca Digne was in the box when the ball hit him on the arm. When Kavanagh runs over, so let's say he couldn't see where he was stood. When Kavanagh runs over, Luca Digne is still stood in the penalty area. He's been stood in the penalty area the entire time from the ball hitting his arm, the whistle being blown, Kavanagh pointing to a free kick, walking over to the Newcastle team. He has stood in the 18-yard box that entire time, and neither of those officials have the courage to turn around and say, actually, it's a penalty. We got the call wrong. And what I would say on this, it's a terrible, like it's been said by Wayne Rooney, Alan Shearer, ex-Premier League referees, pretty much everybody with eyes and a brain can see that this is possibly one of the worst refereeing decisions ever made. But nothing, I don't think anything will come from it. And my big point, which I tried to make last night, was all VAR or no VAR. If these officials don't have the ability to do this without VAR, they shouldn't be doing it with VAR. Because realistically, there are referees, there are linesmen all across the English football pyramid, the Championship especially, that make decisions week by week, and they have to put their flag up. They have to make a call. They have to make a decision. And I can understand the referee making a split-second call and getting it wrong. Making 3 split-second calls in one game and getting every single one of them wrong when they are such clear and obvious errors leaves massive question marks over the quality of refereeing in the Premier League. And what I would say is, out of the 20 referees that are in the Premier League, and I've brought this up before, we have one referee who is outside of being a UK, I don't know if it's UK citizen. We have one foreign referee, which is Jared Gillett. And to be quite fair, we bring players in from all over the world because we want to bring the highest talent and the best quality to the Premier League. But what it seems to be with PGMOL and the referee or the refereeing association is that we have a bit of a boys' club here where we seem to hold on to referees who make terrible decisions week in, week out, don't offer the highest level of refereeing and leave controversy across the whole of the Premier League. And I have to say, looking at the Champions League, I have seen some incredibly well refereed games across the Champions League this season. And referees that I feel the PGMOL should be recruiting in order to make an elite level or an elite standard of refereeing in the Premier League. And I don't feel that this is taken into consideration at all. With the TV revenues, with the money, there is more than enough money to bring in the elite level referee from across anywhere in the world. The elite level officials to be able to sit at Stockley Park and review these things on VAR. The elite level linesmen. If we can do it for managers, players, staff, set piece coaches, why can't we do it for referees? Why don't we do it for referees? Let me know in the comments, guys. Let me know if you like this. If you want this to become a segment that we do once a week where we look at the worst refereeing decisions in the Premier League or the worst refereeing decisions in the Premier League as part of the whistleblower, let me know. And hopefully, guys, I will see you in the next one.